Hello there, my name's Adrian Abs, and I'd like to do a few foils on the importance of working with a cloud partner, not a cloud supplier. Let's dive straight in. We all know on-premise, you manage everything from networking, the physical bits, all the way through to the applications. I'm sure all of you know the cloud players, the Amazons, Microsoft Azure's, Google's, etc. These generally focus on infrastructure as a service, that they're out there to sell you memory, CPU cycles, storage, all of the bits that you'll need to make up the physical layers and virtual layers to go ahead and create your product or deliver your product. Some people know platform as a service, where we generally get third parties that come in and help build or support the application stack on a public cloud player like an Amazon. Very few know about what can be supported and how you can get a partner to support you through to software as a service, i.e. some support from third parties that will support you right the way through to helping at the application level. This is where the likes of ISCore and Teak come into play. They have a full set of services and a full capability with Progress OpenEdge and with lots of other DBs as well to support you right up to the application level. It's better than that though, because we're a partner, not just a supplier. If you've done a move to the cloud or thinking of a move to the cloud, you've probably done a comprehensive cloud strategy. We've analysed where you are, evaluated what you're going to need in terms of infrastructure, what costs that are associated, what business value you're going to get from going this route, and of course you would have planned and maybe launched your end solution. There's a fourth thing that most people miss, which is an exit strategy, because there's lots of indications that people that move to the cloud aren't necessarily happy with the cloud supplier that they first meet. And so they move on to someone else who actually understands their business just a little bit better, is willing to be a bit more flexible. And this is where I think ISCore scores the highest. So you would have assessed your current state. And let me show you how ISCore can help you when you go through this type of thing. You'll ask the obvious questions. Is my product going to work as is in the cloud? Well, you need someone straight away to help you load to the cloud. Of course, you can pay for this, but generally, if you can find someone that can offer you a proof of concept, someone who is willing to provide an infrastructure where you can load your current on-premise solution into the cloud, great. That's already a partnership as opposed to just supplying. Then the next question is, will it perform well enough to meet my client's need? Well, if you've got a proof of concept going on with someone, you can start to measure the performance as would be perceived by the end users. And let's face it, it's the end user's perception of whether it works well that really matters. And the chances are the as-in solution will start to fall over here, i.e. the performance at the end user won't be quite what it's expected to be. If you haven't partnered with someone, you're likely to be incurring more costs. The next thing is, how well do I understand the data flow and possible pinch points in my application? Well, if you've never tried it out in the cloud, you won't have been able to analyze. So that proof of concept comes into play again. And in fact, if you don't have the skill set to identify that, or are not working with someone who's got some experience in actually porting things like Progress OpenEdge into the cloud, you're going to be at a disadvantage. Again, this is where ISCore can really help you. They've done all this before, and they're experts in Progress OpenEdge and can support that type of solution, SaaS solution, right the way through to the application level, as I've said. Even if you do understand the data flow and the pinch points, do you have the skills to adapt and re-architect the app right now? And that comes in two forms. Do you have the knowledge, which you probably do, but do you have the bandwidth to adapt? Even if you have the knowledge, this is again where ISCore, because it's a partnership you're forming with them, can really help. And finally, that begs the question, is there anyone that can help me get OpenEdge SaaS and cloud ready? Yes, of course there is. In fact, if you look at Progress's own website, there are people that will help with the architecting side, but there's only one, ISCore, that will actually help you architect and get to the cloud live, and all as part of a proof of concept that you can do with them. So let's start looking at business goals. Why are you wanting to go there in the first place? Is it to protect revenue because the competition's already there and you're starting to have to defend yourself? If that's the case, you're going to have to move rather quickly. So you should really choose a partner that can help you get there quickly. Is it to expand the reach with your current solution? Well, the faster you move to having that new solution, the better. And choosing the right partner instead of supplier enables you to do that quicker, faster, and more effectively. Is it to enable a new business model? Why not work with someone that's actually enabled these business models in the past? And that would be an IS core. When we go to the next foil, I want to quickly look at tech evaluation. And if you start looking at the difference between SLAs, those that an Amazon would provide you and those that an IS core would provide you, well, here's an outage map from last Monday, and that's the 2nd of November. And you'll see that the lots of yellow blobs, some going more intense orange. The more orange and bigger the blobs are, the more outages that have been reported. Now, this is reported outages. It doesn't mean actual outages, but it's the perception of the end user that's important, and they're reporting an outage. So as far as they're concerned, AWS is down. Now, if this is your application only here in this situation, that means they think your application is down. So the application SLA is what's really important. So if we look at the main public players, what do they have? They have SLAs in response time related to their infrastructure, not to the application. IS Core are actually supporting you at the application and working out an SLA with you at the application level, and that's because they're aware, they understand the Progress OpenEdge platform, solution, and can help you with that. And of course, service complexity. It's great that all of these modules are there in the public cloud, but you've got to learn them all. Why not work with someone that can take care of that service complexity for you? Next, and a critical part for success, I think, is security. And one thing that's really different about IS Core and Teak is that they are fully compliant. They're either ISO 27013 compliant on all the modules, which is Teak, or it's SOC compliance if in the US, and they can wrap this security blanket, make sure that the solution that's being deployed is fully secured. So when you get to this issue of shared responsibility, actually IS Core and Teak are willing to share that responsibility with you openly. If it's someone like AWS, that's not the case. They're going to be trying to write the contract such that both the data processor and data controller is completely your responsibility. And let's face it, we're in the EU, UK here, GDPR legislation is very important, and the fines are absolutely massive. So choosing the right partner, as I say again, is critical to your success as you enter the cloud. Even if you are in the cloud, it may justify a move, as you'll see earlier, from someone like an AWS into the IS Core cloud. Even when you come to estimating cost, here's another massive advantage that IS Core has. It's great that all of these cost estimators are there with the public cloud providers. You have to configure them and you'll come up with an estimate. You won't know for sure exactly what it's going to cost is going to be, because everything is billed on a per use basis, so you have no certainty over that. Even when you come to look at the bill at the end of every month, which you have to pay, it's a very complex thing to look at. And so trying to come up with a new business model where you have a fixed price to sell to users is very, very difficult. So let's look at business value. Really, when you're doing this, we want to look at qualitative and quantitative criteria to evaluate business value, such as what knowledge does the cloud partner have of the architecture I use? IS Core has full knowledge of what you're doing. AWS has none. Have they helped move an application like mining to the cloud? IS Core will absolutely say yes. AWS might say, yes, we've got an application like that with us. Now, Progress talk about being AWS ready. Of course they do. AWS is the biggest cloud vendor on the planet. However, that's not necessarily good business value because you're not actually getting what you need from it. And remember, cost isn't the only thing that's important here. These other things are actually much more effective to delivering a business strategy than just being cheaper all the time. And by the way, it's not actually cheaper, as it turns out anyway. So the real key to this is, how important is you to know the actual cost that you're going to be charged versus an estimated charge? Well, if you know the absolute number you're going to be charged, you can make a margin on top of it quite easily, and you can set your business strategy in the cloud on a nice safe footing to go forward. Of course, possible improved operational efficiency happens to all, but the more that you can hand off things that is not your core competency to the right partner can really help operational efficiency. Possible improved agility. Will AWS, will Azure help your clients into their platform? No. They might provide some white papers. Will AIS Core? Absolutely. They can take on that because they will have shadowed you and know how to install your particular application and how to bring up one of your clients. They can take on that level of responsibility as well. This is real partnership. It's not just being a supplier. So better staffing, resourcing. Well, of course, you can have all of these people in-house, but now you have the possibility to lean on a third party and a reliable partner to actually get these things done. So you can utilize that expensive, valuable internal resource to actually get on with the things they want to get on with, which is actually improving the product and getting ready for the next generation and keep outmaneuvering your competition. So let's have a look now. We want to work the plan and plan to launch. So the stakeholders need to be networked first. And of course, in this case, the number of stakeholders involved is very much lower. That means the team can be assembled and the team will be a lot smaller. It will change over time as we move from working with you to create the software as a service right the way through to then helping you manage and help that actual system perform. Of course, tools and platform will have been assembled, but in the team will be people that really understand that from day one, and therefore the whole process is much quicker and much more effective. Therefore, the plan, the phasing, the readiness is quicker, faster, more detailed out the box. And of course, that allows the management communication to be done much more simply across a fewer set of people, but making sure everybody is involved and that we can get going together. Tim at AIS Core has this saying, he says, plan the work and then work the plan. We can be very specific with you about how to create that plan, and we will work with you to work the plan going forward. So a few things to watch out for. First one, number one, is lack of planning. It's where most people go wrong. With us involved, we're going to plan that with you. Abraham Lincoln once said, give me 6 hours to chop a tree down. We'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. Well, with us, we'll be sharpened the axe before we begin. Another way people fail is selecting the wrong migration path. In my particular mind, having a partner like AIS Core is the right migration approach because it ensures you're going to deliver quickly and correctly. So let's run very quickly through 3 success stories where this has proved to be the case. Back in 1999, Skyward were basically on-premise, traditionally licensed, starting to face the SaaS wave that was to come, and they needed to partner with someone to basically get themselves ready for the future. So of course they did that with AIS Core, and they introduced a model whereby they would charge per student, and AIS Core would simply take a portion of that charge as their fee. Everything was fixed, everything was known. Skyward was able to drive forward with their own product. The result is 20-year plus partnership, growing significantly from 400 on-premise installations to over 2,000 SaaS installations, and now one of the largest players in that particular segment in the US. So why did they choose? It's obvious. They choose AIS Core because it was a managed hosting partnership that was delivered, and they were able to discuss fairly and candidly the contact details later. So a true partner in terms of growing a new business. If we look at Distribution One, well, these guys went out there and they started with Amazon and Azure. They realized, in fact, those suppliers didn't understand their business and what they were trying to do. So approached AIS Core, and AIS Core liked what they heard and were able to combine an offering between the two companies to go to market. Solution, something sold on a per user basis again, a nice secure, completely secure environment. The result, accelerating revenues, faster onboarding, happier customers, and so on. So why IS Core in this case? Well, mainly because they knew Progress OpenEdge. They were able to support Distribution 1 in what they were trying to do. And they were able to understand and offer mission critical software functionality, i.e. that app level of support. Finally, I'm going to look at Roydan. And this is a debt collection agency, again in the US. Their challenge was that they tried to do it themselves. It isn't a core competency for them, and actually they started to have outages. Again, they teamed up with IS Core, who delivered on a per-user basis, stabilized their business, and now have better uptime, higher customer satisfaction, actually lower support costs, because they were able to take that piece of core business or non-core business and give it to a trusted partner. And therefore they're ending up with much higher revenues than they would have done otherwise. So why IS Core? Because they were able to understand the business properly. So what's my key takeaways here for you? Look, any move to anywhere must be supported from the top of the business, the CEO, etc. Because, let's face it, the cloud is not a place, it's a strategy. And business value is much more important in this case than cost. And IS Core deliver fantastic business value. So that right cloud partner can really help. Someone that understands OpenEdge. There's not that many around. IS Core is one of them, and it happens to have all of the infrastructure and cloud service to offer you to let you go to market with your SaaS model. This end user SLA, it's a critical factor because that's what the users perceive. This is again where IS Core score really highly. And finally, and most importantly, of course, security. It's as critical as an SLA, and IS Core have all of the compliance standards in Europe, in America, to wrap around your product to make sure you go to market quickly, safely, and securely. Finally, just to give you an idea that the support you're going to get from us is both local and global. Local, it's delivered through Teak, who are basically the representatives for IS Core in EMEA. We're linked at the founder level. Myself, as founder of Teak, is linked directly to Mike Weber. Our business development is linked directly to their business development. Our technology CTO is linked directly to their technology CTO, and our marketing / project management are also linked directly. I hope you found that interesting. Please give us a ring. I'm sure it'll be a fascinating discussion about how we can partner with you to deliver your solution. Thank you very much for listening.